Canva Presentation Animation tutorial, how to create an amazing Canva presentation. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you guys how to get started with building an amazing Canva presentation. So let's get into it. Now, animations can be a great way to elevate your presentations, and there are three basic ways that you can do so. I will be breaking them down step by step. Now, the first type of animation that you can add in your Canva presentation is a simple animation from one slide to the next one. So if I go into the present mode over here and I click on the next slide, it's going to appear in a very simple fashion. However, I can elevate this by adding a more dynamic effect by adding a transition. So to add a transition, you can click on the bottom preview button over here. Now in your previews of all of your slides, you're going to find the gap. When you hover your cursor around this gap, you're going to have the option of adding a transition. You're going to click on add transition. Now you can choose the type of transition you want from the left panel. So there are multiple different types of transitions available. Let's say I want the flow transition, or maybe the match and move or the chop. So let's say I want to go with the flow transition. Once you select your desired transition, you can choose the duration that you want. So how long or short it should be. Let's say I want a 2.5-second transition, which is going to be pretty slow. If I want it to move quickly, then I can choose a 0.06-second transition. Then you also have direction options for certain transitions. So I want this to go like this. However, if you want a different style, you can always go up, down, or in the other direction as well. Now, this is just one transition, and if I click on present over here now, I can move to the next slide, and it has this amazing elevated element. Now, there are other animations that you can add to an individual page as well. You can also apply your transition to all of your pages. So if I click on this transition on the bottom, I can click on apply between all pages and it would be applied to my entire presentation in Canva. However, there are other animations you can do. Let's say I want to animate this slide over here. So if I click on this page over here on the bottom, I will have the option of animate on the top left. Now, if I click on animation, I can actually choose how the items are going to appear on screen. So this is different than your transition because a transition is between two slides. However, this is going to be how the items individually appear on the screen. So you will see multiple different types of page animations. You have photo movements as well as exaggerated movements, some basic transitions, as well as combination transitions. So let's say I want this to be a tectonic presentation, so I can add that. And I can choose the intensity of the particular animated effect that I'm adding. If I want this to be brief or super intense, there are some other effects you can add, such as pop, and I can choose whether or not I want this to be added on both the entrance and the exit of the objects. Then you can also choose whether or not you want this to be added only on the entrance. And after that, you also have some other effects like your block effect. And in this, you have both the options of direction, color, and your animations, whether or not they should be added on entrance or exit. Let's say I want them on both and I want them in a contrasting yellow color. And then I can choose the direction as well, like this. Now, once I've added these animations, you guys can see these animations have been added to our page. And now if I go ahead and add this to the page that has a transition, I can do that as well. So if I click on present over here, you guys will see that the page transition is going to be different like this. This is our page transition, and now this is our actual transition or page animation. Keep in mind that if you have a entrance page transition or animation, only one of those will be shown. So if you want to only animate your pages, remove all transitions that you have. However, if you want to keep your transitions, you can just do that as well. Now, this is just the second method of making your pages on Canva. Now, this is just the second method of creating an animated presentation. Now, if I want to add a more dynamic presentation and I want this to be more eye-catching throughout the time that I'm presenting it, I can actually add items that are moving items. So to do that, you can go into elements on the left corner and you can search for animated anything. So you guys can see ideas. You have these light bulbs, and I can add this light bulb over here, and I can add this over here, which is a animated element. So throughout the presentation, whenever this page opens up, this animation will be running throughout. So if I click on present and take a look at the presentation now, the animated light bulb is there. Now there's another way that you can animate your presentations other than adding these moving elements. So these moving elements are a great way to make sure that your presentation has a lot of appeal. However, you can further elevate your presentation by adding a duplicate slide effect. So let's say I have this particular pointer and I want to maybe expand on the first section. So what I'm going to do is on the bottom, you're going to hover your cursor over the slide that you want to duplicate. Then you're going to click on these three dots over here and click on duplicate page. Now, once you have a duplicate page, you're going to go into the second page, and I'm going to delete all of the items regarding the second point, and I'm just going to expand on the first one like this. Whatever is about, the first item can be expanded over here. And then after that, I'm going to remove the icon for this, and then I'm going to change the color to the first one. So I'm going to match the color to the first item like so over here, and then I can move this to the center as well, and I can change the effect as well. Now once I've added that, I want to add a transition that is going to help in merging the two elements together. So first, this might be just an overview of the three elements, and then I'm going to talk more about the first element. So for that, what I'm going to do is I am going to add an animation to our particular item. So you guys can see in the second section, you have your animation options, and you have rotation effects as well as flicker effects, pulse effects that you can add. You also have the tumble effects, the scrapbook effect, neon effect, as well as breathe, pop, and fade effects. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a simple transition first. So I'm going to click on add transition, and I'm going to add match and move, or flow if you want. However, I want to add a dissolve or match and move effect because these two look pretty nice when they're converting. So I'm going to go for a match and move effect. And after that, I'm just going to increase the duration, so it's just a really nice and long and dynamic effect. Now, after that, if I go into the present section over here and present from this page, this is like a really great animation to display or elaborate on a certain object. Now you can make this further more dynamic by, adding multiple different frames of the same thing. So let's say I have one element. I'll show you guys an example to do this. So I've created 3 blank pages over here, and I'm just going to search for farm or galaxy. And I'll take a little dynamic image, a larger image, so I can better show you guys how you can replicate a really large image. So taking this image over here, I'm going to split it half over here like this, and I'm going to move it so half of the image is not visible. Now in the next section, I'm going to take the same image, so I'm just going to Command C and then Command V, and then move it slightly like this. And then in the third section, I'm going to obviously Command C, and then on the third image, I'm going to do Command V and then move it further. Now keep in mind, you want to make sure your image fits, so I'm going to resize the image slightly to make it fit slightly better, like so. So I'm just gonna copy and then paste, and then I'm gonna copy and then paste. Make sure to copy right from the previous page, because that helps you in making sure your image is placed right where it was in the previous frame, so you can move it further along like this. Now after I've done this, I'm going to add a simple animation feature. So you can go into your individual item and you can choose a tectonic effect to give it a moving effect. Now, if you do this on your second page as well, if you go for a tectonic effect in that, it might look a bit slow. So what I like to do is I like to keep it with a transition, and usually it's like a match and move or a dissolve transition, which can help you in moving the element. So I like to increase the duration of all of this, and I'm going to apply this to all our pages. Now, if I click on present over here, you guys can see with each click our item is moving forward. So in this way you can add multiple different types of animations in your Canva presentation. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.